So this is BattleBlock Theater. Um, this is a great platformer. It's a great little platformer. It's very similar to Little Big Planet, which is another platforming series I love. I think the greatest strength of this game is just the fact that you can make your own levels, and because of that, the game has infinite gameplay potential. It gives you all the basic building blocks to make your own levels, quite literally. Like, each platform in this game is a block. And they give you quite a few blocks to work with, which gives you a lot of variety. But I can't really comment too much on the level editor because I haven't used it myself. But any game that has that capability is always a big plus, especially if you love platformers and you can't get enough of them. As for the single-player campaign, it's really good. The gameplay is really tight. The control, the movement is tight. Everything feels pretty precise. Nothing really feels, bad. It has simplistic gameplay, but still has depth at the same time. And the levels are really well designed. Obviously, there's going to be some comparisons to Little Big Planet and also to Super Meat Boy. Compared to Super Meat Boy, this game is more accessible. I mean, I guess you could say it's easier, but I prefer to say accessible because the game is still challenging, very challenging, as you can see, especially in these later levels. But it never feels unfair. There was one part where I was dying a lot, but like once you figure out how to get through it, it's not too big of a deal. Just like Super Meat Boy, you have infinite lives. And unlike Super Meat Boy, there's checkpoints, so the levels can be longer while still, maintaining a good pace, because you don't want to have to restart the whole level over again when it's too long. So I really like that. Graphics-wise, it works well within the context of the game. You have these simplistic, bold graphics, and they look good. Obviously, you're not going to get the same level of detail as you do in other games. But I think it works perfectly within the context of the game and what it's trying to do. Compared to like other platforming games, I have to admit that I do prefer the other ones, like Super Meat Boy or Little Big Planet. But that's not to diminish this game at all. Yeah, I mean, like, well, I guess you could say it's partly because of the graphics. I just prefer the graphic style of those other games. But like I said, the graphic style works within the context of this game. It's just my preference for preferring those graphics. The graphics of, like, Mario and Super Meat Boy or Little Big Planet. At the end of each level, you get, like, it's not really a boss fight, but it's like a time trial. I have mixed feelings about them. I mean, sometimes they're pretty cool. I like speedy levels where you have to go fast. Unfortunately, sometimes with the time trials, it's more about just a grind to beat the game rather than trying to figure out, trying to beat it as quickly as possible. The level design's a little mixed there. As for the gameplay in general, one thing I forgot to mention is the gameplay is a mixture of both traditional platforming, like I'm doing now, and also puzzle solving. So it actually has like a bit of puzzle solving, like puzzle. They call them puzzle platformers. Has a little bit of that element. It's more based around action platforming, but it still has that aspect, which is really cool that they were able to combine the two. Really impressive. Music-wise, it's good. music's good. You know? Like, the game doesn't really do anything badly. There's nothing, like, bad about the game per se. It just doesn't have the same kind of appeal to me as, you know, some of the other platforming games that I love. You know, so, like, you know, you get that sometimes where, like, a platforming game or a game of any kind, you know, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just you prefer other kinds of games in the genre. But, again, I don't want to diminish this game, because it is a great game. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it.